Namaste, this is Apal Raju, teacher of mathematics in SPUNHS Thune. Today I am reading out a paragraph from a book written by R.K. Narayan, which is A Man Eater of Malgudi. I am reading out paragraphs from chapter 1. I could have profitably rented out a little room in front of my press on Market Road, with a view of the fountain. It was covered by every would-be shopkeeper in our town. I was considered a fool for not getting my money's worth out of it, since all the space I need for my press and its personnel was at the back, beyond the blue curtain. But I could not explain myself to sordid and calculating people. I hung up a framed picture of Goddess Lakshmi poised on her lotus, holding aloft the boundaries of earth in her four hands. And through her grace, I did not do too badly. My son, little Babu, went to Albert Mission School, and he felt quite adequately supplied with toys, books, sweets, and any other odds and ends he fancied. My wife, every Deepavali, gave herself a new silk saree, glittering with lace, not to mention the ones she brought for no particular reason at other times. She kept the pantry well stocked and our kitchen fireglow, continuing the radiations of our ancient home in Kabir Street. I had furnished my parlor with a high backed chair made up of teak wood, in the style of Queen Anne, or so the auctioneer claimed who had sold it to my grandfather. A roll top desk supported on bow legs with ivy vines carved on them, and four other seats of varying heights and shapes resurrected from our family lumber room. Anyone who found his feet aching as he passed down Market Road was welcome to rest in my parlor on any seat that happened to be vacant. While they rested there, people got ideas for bill forms, visiting cards, or wedding invitations which they asked me to print. But many others came whose visits did not mean a paisa to me. Among my constant visits did not mean to. Among my constant companions was a poet who was writing the life of God Krishna in monosyllabic verse. His ambition was to compose a grand epic, and he came almost every day to recite to me his latest lines. My admiration for him was unbounded. I was thrilled to hear such clear lines as girls with girls did dance in trance, and I felt equally excited when I had to infer the meaning of certain lines. That happened when he totally failed to find a monosyllable and achieved his end by ruthlessly carving a polysyllable. On such occasions, even the most familiar term took on the mysterious quality of a private code. Invariably, in defense it is to his literacy attainments, I let him occupy the Queen Anne chair while I sat perched on the edge of my roll top desk. In the next best seat, a deep basket chair in came, you would find Sen, the journalist who came to read the newspapers on my table and who held forth on the mistakes Nehru was making. These two men and a few others remained sitting there till 6 in the evening when the press was silenced. I had no need to be present or attend to them in any way. So they were also good enough to vacate their chairs without being told and to disappear when anyone came to discuss business with me. So these are the lines I selected to read. Thank you.